What are your impressions coming from week one?
We've talked about it. I talked to other people about it as well. Look, guys, we got football back. So I know it wasn't the best football. It was mediocre at best for some of our players, some of the teams that we root for. I'm a Raiders fan. It was bad. Okay. But again, we had football. We've been waiting months and months and months to see football on the TV screen, and we got it. And from the NFL. So now it's like, okay, let week one go through. My impressions on week one, though, were you got a lot of bad football going on. I mean, what the Bengals did last week, they just totally overlooked the Patriots to me. They looked like they were saying, well, we're going to sit T. Higgins. Jamar Chase will play here and there. But we're going to beat the pants off of the Patriots anyway. They just really overlooked them. And then the Patriots came in there and said, hold your horses. No, we got something for you. And they came out with the victory. Other players that I noticed, Trevor Lawrence, I was really big on Trevor Lawrence this preseason. I was really big on him, and I was thinking that he could turn around that corner. I saw some plays that he did do a really good job, and I saw some plays where he looked a little bit out of sorts. So, I want to say that, it could have been from the defense of the Miami Dolphins, or maybe it's just the lack of preparation, or maybe it's just week one. We all have to just sit back and just understand that it's week one. They're going to be a little rusty right now, especially these starters who did not play in the preseason. Look, they're going to be a little rusty. It's going to be okay. By week three, though, buckle up. It's going to be on.
I love it. What are you looking forward to most for week two?
So week two, obviously tonight's game, that should be a really fun game. It's weird because you'd always like the Thursday night game. You're like, man, but these guys just played Sunday. Like, did they have enough time to recuperate? And you being a doctor, you probably know a little bit more about the body as far as how these guys recuperate. I know they are on different supplements. I know they're on different regimens that they do. I get that. But that's a lot to ask for some of these players. So sometimes on Thursday nights, you don't see that great of a game. I think, though, in this game, a divisional game, we might get a really good game out of both of these teams who won last week. So I'm really looking forward to that game. Another game that I'm looking forward to is this Detroit Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers, I feel like Coach Todd Bowles does not get enough credit, man. This guy he went from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. And I mean, they're still doing their thing. They are still out there winning games. He played, he may not have stars like he did on defense years before, or big names like he did before, but he's got a ragtag bunch of groups that will go out there and play. I am a little concerned about their secondary this week with some of the injuries that they have. So hopefully some of those guys play. If not, then look out for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Look out for Jameson Williams. They're going to have a good game. Let's see another game. Obviously, I want to see my Raiders. I want to see them bounce back. Look, the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are a good team. They will always be a good team in the NFL as long as John Harbaugh is there. That offensive line, though, stinks right now. That's one of the reasons why we saw Mark Andrews maybe not get as much play as we wanted. He was returning from a car, or he had a car accident situation in the preseason. Then, he got to return from that. Then you got an offensive line that's very, very suspect at this moment. And then you bring in two defensive guys, and Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins, who are going to want to just tear up the offensive line. So I'm really curious to see what our Raiders, what we bring to the table this week defensively. But I was very disappointed in them offensively. I think that they were very, very conservative. They weren't aggressive enough, especially with that defensive line that the Chargers have. So I think you have to be a little bit more aggressive. The Ravens, they're going to bring it. They don't want to go 0-2. The Raiders don't want to go 0-2. So I'm intrigued about that one as well. Although I think the Raiders might end up losing this one because Lamar Jackson is just he's that guy.
Yeah, sure. You definitely brought up a couple of good matchups. So when it comes to just fantasy, though, how'd you do on the waiver wire this week? Did you get who you wanted?
I did. I got Tyler Johnson in one league, and we'll talk a little bit more about him when we talk about the players that I feel like are going to break out, or the player you want to roll your dice on. But I got Tyler Johnson in a couple leagues. I got this guy Devon Vele. I've been looking at him from Denver. The reason I like him, he's like 6'5". He's an older rookie. He's like 26 years old, but he's 6'5". he kind of fits that mold of what Tim Patrick was doing.
Mhm.
But he had 8 targets last week. He only had like a 48% snap percentage. So that is a little concerning. But with 8 targets in that percentage, that does tell me that they're going to utilize him a little bit. So I'm considering him. Take Bigsby. That's another guy that I was looking at last week. I was really disappointed in Travis Etienne's performance. He had a wide open touchdown and fumbled the ball right there, right before he got into the goal line. Another guy that I was looking at is, and I was not big on him, Bucky Irving. I was not big on Bucky Irving going this year. I was like, look, this is a Rachaad White situation. He's going to be the guy. But Rachaad White just did not have the juice last week, man. It really, really upset me because I have Rachaad White as a flex option. I had him in a couple of leagues as a number 2 running back because I really felt like he was going to be one of those guys who can get you those points and probably get a touchdown if that offense is high powered like it looks like it's going to be. But he did bail us out with the catches, though. He got us 6 catches for 75 yards. That's what Rachaad White's going to do. It's never pretty, but it's never efficient, but he gets the opportunity. So I think I'm going to give Rachaad White one more chance. And so I'm not going to sit him or anything like that, but I will give him one more shot.
Yeah, Bucky's a good football player, so it'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see how they utilize him because it definitely impacted their offense this last week. So looking forward to seeing what happens with Tampa moving forward. Like you said, interesting. You know, they got a lot of weapons. Baker's got a lot of weapons, and they look like a team that can definitely compete. So when it comes to this weekend, who do you got? Like, who are some bold takes you have?
So some bold moves so for me, I'm looking at Cole Kmet here.
Okay.
The Texans, they are a good team, a very good team, very balanced on offense. We saw they can run the ball effectively, they can pass the ball effectively. They've got a good pass rush. That back end, that secondary needs a little bit of help from the Texans. We saw what Anthony Richardson Jr. did last week against the Texans on 9 completions. So it kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit because you have Rome Odunze and now Keenan Allen, who is dealing with a heel injury, possibly the same injury that he had last year. And if you have those situations where 2 of your main guys are out, well, Cole Kmet, who was only used in 48% of snaps last week, he might have an uptick this week. And who is a quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback's safety blanket, when you don't have a guy like Keenan Allen there? It's going to be the tight end. So I really like what Cole Kmet could possibly do this week. I understand Gerald Everett's there. He had a 61% snap share. I understand that. But he only had like 2 catches or 2 targets. And Cole Kmet only had like 1 target as well. But they didn't need to utilize the tight ends because they had the wide receivers. Well, now they're going to have to utilize those tight ends. And I think Cole Kmet's the guy that they utilize. And the Texans sneakily gave up the 10th most points to the tight end position last week, or 10th most yards to the tight end position last week.